So in today's video, we are going to be covering Pablo Lopez. It is very, very possible that he is traded at the MLB trade deadline. One of the really young and exciting starting pitchers in the league that definitely could be moved. Now we've heard the names of, Luis Castillo and a number of other arms that could be shopped. However, Pablo Lopez is probably the most intriguing arm considering how young he is, how controllable he is, and what he can bring to the table from a starting pitching standpoint. Now, if we look at his stats so far this season, he is 7-5 with a 3.03 ERA, 116 innings pitched, 118 strikeouts, and a whip of 1.043. Now, overall, those are very, very good numbers, especially with how great he had started the year. This is a guy that could be a steady rotational arm for a contending team. Now, when you look at his makeup and everything, the thing that stands out the most is his changeup. He has an absolutely nasty changeup, one of the best in the league. The ability to really fool hitters, setting that up, from his fastball to his changeup, it really looks the same coming out of the hand. Now, overall, let's talk about some teams that could be interested in potentially trading for a guy like Pablo Lopez. A lot of teams should come to mind, but which are the more realistic ones? Which are the teams that are going to be the most desperate in terms of trying to trade for him? And I think you have to start the list with the Minnesota Twins. The Minnesota Twins are a team that is in desperate, desperate need for starting pitching. I think it's pretty clear and obvious with the inconsistencies of guys like Chris Archer, Dylan Bundy. They need to find some more stable arms. Obviously, Joe Ryan has been a mainstay in that rotation, as well as Sonny Gray, but the Minnesota Twins have to do something. Now, they have some pretty good MLB, level hitters that can play in the field. However, there isn't necessarily enough room for all of them. So they're going to have to adjust accordingly. Now, this is exactly what the Miami Marlins need. They need an established bat or two, that is kind of major league, ready at this point. We look at the Miami Marlins, they are absolutely loaded from top to bottom in the organization, not only at the MLB level, but at the minor league level with some great starting pitching. This is where it could be help to the Minnesota Twins. They go ahead and acquire a guy that has 2 more years left of control beyond this year. So that's really where the value lies in terms of giving up a little bit more draft or prospect capital in order to acquire a guy like Pablo Lopez. Overall, I think that makes a lot of sense for the Twins. Now, another team that we definitely have to highlight is the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a team during the offseason that had called Miami about potentially acquiring a guy like Pablo Lopez. Now, Miami kind of closed the door on that. They felt that they really could be in contention this year for sure, be in that playoff hunt. Hence why they had signed guys like Jorge Soler and Avisail Garcia. Neither of those moves have really panned out to this point. Regardless, the Marlins felt that they were going to be in contention. They felt they were going to be competitive, which they have been for the most part. Now, a lot of injuries to the starting staff has kind of changed the complexion, and also just with how bad their lineup has been hitting wise, it's been tough to watch. Now, I think the Toronto Blue Jays have some interesting major league level guys to offer, but the minor league system is not as deep as some of these other teams that we're about to mention. Another team is the LA Dodgers. The LA Dodgers are always in on guys at the trade deadline. They're a very, very active team. They have a really good minor league system. So that is kind of where you can see potentially the Dodgers jump in. Dustin May is recovering from Tommy John surgery. You also have Walker Buehler on the 60-day IL. So that is something that we have to factor in all of this. So could the Dodgers be a team that jumps in and decides to go ahead and go after Pablo Lopez? I think it's very, very possible that they are. Another team I definitely have to highlight is the New York Yankees. Obviously, with being in contention, they're going to be in on this. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that the New York Yankees are going to be calling the Miami Marlins. Now, they've done trades in the past. If you think about the Giancarlo Stanton deal, I don't think that the phones are closed off. I think the Yankees have some interesting prospects that could be sent back to Miami's way. They have some good hitting prospects in the minors that could intrigue Miami. Now, I think that a deal for sure is going to get done. I think there's a very, very, very good chance considering the Miami Marlins are in dire need of major league bats. They are super deficient in that. A couple of guys that they've made moves for just have not panned out at the minor league level. They've really, really struggled to get some consistent at bats from guys. Garrett Cooper is another name that we have to be watching. He very well could be sent out at this trade deadline, considering that he was an all-star this year. I think they're going to try to capitalize on the 31-year-old, a guy that can hit to all fields, hit with a little bit of pop, but they might be losing another bat essentially, if that makes some sense. He doesn't really fit the timeline. He's already 31. Maybe they're going to go a different direction. Now, kind of looking overall at all of these teams that we've highlighted, I think the Twins are intriguing, Dodgers, Blue Jays, Yankees. I think all of those teams kind of fit the bill, but there's a lot of other squads that could jump in on this. I see a team like the Texas Rangers perhaps being in on this only for the sheer fact that they are trying to go all in. And granted, their record doesn't really show, but they've come a little ways from the rebuilding that they've been doing the last couple of seasons. So they're trying to accelerate that. And a way of doing that is obviously jumping into this trade market and seeing what they can get in a Pablo Lopez package potentially. Now, I think that when you look at the Texas Rangers, they definitely have the minor league assets to do so. I think when you look holistically at what they have to offer, the Texas Rangers have quite a bit, and especially in that top 100, multiple guys in that top 100 that very well could be dangled as a trade chip to the Miami Marlins, just considering they're trying to compete, they're trying to win, especially win in the short term here. Maybe the eyes aren't set on this year, but years beyond. They can afford to re-sign a guy like Pablo Lopez. That is not a problem for this organization. It's been proven time and time again. So looking at it, I think the Texas Rangers are a team that we have to consider in this. Now, looking at Pablo Lopez, he is a terrific starting pitcher. Him and Sandy Alcantara are a great 1-2 punch in this league. Now, the question becomes, at what expense, are you going to kind of slightly tear down the rotation? Now, they have a lot of minor league arms, but Pablo Lopez might be used as that trade asset to bring in a lot of, guys that can hit at the major league level. The Marlins have tried this. No success so far, really, to this point. A lot of their prospects in the minors have not been able to hit once they get up to the major league level. It's been proven time and time and time again. Guys like Izan Diaz have struggled. Lewin Diaz has also struggled, to just name a couple of them. These are guys that, they acquired in trades trying to get to work. Lewis Brinson, another example, was supposed to be a 5-tool great player, but did not work out for the Marlins. So hopefully at this trade deadline, they're essentially able to get it right. I think when you look at the starting pitching that they've been able to bring in, it's been awesome. They've done a phenomenal job with that. But let's kind of also consider the health of this rotation has been off. Max Meyer very, very well could need season-ending surgery. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens there. He might need Tommy John. Edward Cabrera has been on the shelf for a good portion of the season. Jesus Luzardo has been on the shelf. So they've just not been able to keep it consistent in that rotation of who they've been having up. Another guy that's not hurt, but he might as well. I don't know. This is a guy in Trevor Rogers that I cannot believe his regression from last year to this year. It's been unbearable to watch. Unfortunately, Trevor Rogers has not been that guy for the Miami Marlins, and I don't really know if he has a long-term future with this team. Obviously not a tradable guy at this point. If you want to recoup any amount of value, you might as well just hold on to him and hope that next year you're able to move him, because with how he's pitched this year, the return is going to be very, very, very minimalistic, in my opinion. Just looking at the numbers, using the eye test, this is a player that I don't think a lot of teams are in on. So all in all, with that being said, Pablo Lopez is one of the best trade chips available at this deadline. A lot of it has to do with the Miami Marlins circumstances. And I think that with their last stretch was kind of the final straw for this organization to say, okay, we're going to listen to some offers. They said that they will. John Heyman had reported now that they're going to listen to offers on all players except for Sandy Alcantara. Good move by the Miami Marlins. They better not trade him, considering how great of a starting pitcher he is. I greatly appreciate all the support on the channel. Thanks again for stopping by for this MLB video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you aren't, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss out on any of the latest content. I'm really excited to see what happens at this deadline. I think there's going to be some big breaking news, and we will do our best to cover that for you. Once again, thanks for stopping by, and we will catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.